Hello students, welcome to this YouTube channel. In this particular quiz lecture, we are going to solve questions basis instrument departure. All questions based on instrument departure, the regulations involved, what is the procedure we follow when we fly a particular instrument departure, etc. So let's look at the questions. Let's answer them. Let's find out some new information about this and proceed. So question 1. What is true regarding the use of an instrument departure procedure chart? Okay, so there are three options. You have to find out which of them is true regarding the utilization of an instrument departure chart. To use an instrument departure procedure, the pilot must possess both textual and graphic form of approved departure. So here, now this is an example or illustration of an instrument departure procedure chart. You have this graphical depiction, you have the written format also. So is it vital or is it necessary to be in possession of both textual and diagram? Option B, to use an instrument departure procedure, the pilot must possess at least the textual description of the approved standard departure. The use of instrument departure procedures is mandatory. Okay, so the correct answer will be option number Bravo. Okay, to use an instrument departure procedure, if you want to fly a particular instrument departure procedure, you must be in possession of at least a textual description of that departure procedure or graphical. Okay, if you have both, good, but at least one of them must be at your availability. So to use an instrument departure procedure, the pilot must possess at least the textual description of the approved standard departure or at least the graphical representation. It is not necessary to possess both, but at least one of them. So Bravo is the correct option. Which procedure is recommended while climbing to an assigned altitude on the airway? Okay, so you're flying along the airway, okay, along the Victor airway on a particular VOR radial. You're climbing on that radial on that airway. So which procedure is recommended? Okay, what is generally practiced? So climb on the center line of the airway except when maneuvering to avoid other air traffic in VFR conditions. Okay, if you're climbing on an airway and you are receiving radar vectors, radar following or flight following, okay, and ATC gives you traffic advisories. In order to spot that traffic around you or to visually scan the airspace around you, okay, you will have to do some maneuvering to the left or right of your intended track or course. So that is allowed in such conditions of visibility, good visibility VFR conditions. So climb, otherwise you must continue climbing on the center line of the airway unless or except when maneuvering to avoid other traffic or to scan for other traffic. Climb slightly on the right side of the airway when in VFR conditions, that is wrong practice. Climb far enough to the right side of the airway to avoid climbing or descending traffic coming from the opposite direction if in VFR. So again, this is irrelevant. Climb on the center line of the airway always. Okay. Next, which procedure is recommended while climbing to an assigned altitude of on the airway? So climbing to a particular altitude. So it's the repeat of previous question. So that's my fault. But remember, you climb on the center line of the airway except when maneuvering to avoid other traffic in VFR met conditions. Next, important. This is important to comply with ATC instructions for altitude changes of more than 1000 feet. What rate of climb or descent should be used? Now let's say this is altitude 6000 feet and this is altitude 4000 feet, okay, and this is altitude 5000 feet. Now ATC has cleared you to climb from altitude 4000 feet, okay, or to climb to a new altitude of 6000 feet. So your aircraft is currently at 4000 feet. Being at 4000 feet, you receive a new clearance to climb to a higher altitude of 6000 feet. Now as you climb to that altitude, what rate of climb should you maintain or what rate of climb should you fly? Okay, so the regulation says as as rapidly as practicable, as fast as possible, up to 1000 feet above or below the assigned altitude. Now, what is the assigned altitude to you? ATC has assigned you an altitude of 6000 feet. Now, 1000 feet below that 6000 feet is 5000 feet. So, from 4000 to 5000, okay, you will go as fast as possible. Okay, as fast a rate of climb as possible. After reaching 5000 feet, which is 1000 feet below 6000 feet, you will change your rate of climb between 500 and 1500 feet per minute. If your initial rate of climb here was already between 500 feet and 1500 feet per minute, no issue. But if your rate of climb during this phase of flight was more than 1500 feet, then after attaining this level of 5000 feet, you must decrease that rate of climb below 1500 feet but above 500 feet. Okay, so when you're within 1000 feet of your assigned altitude, you must reduce your rate of climb or fly at a rate of climb between 500 feet and 1500 feet. This helps you achieve a timely level off at the new assigned altitude and not overshoot this altitude and go above it. Okay, so that's why this planning is done. First, up to 5000 feet, that is as rapidly as practicable or as rapidly as possible to 1000 feet above or below the assigned altitude. And when you have reached there, you can modify your rate of climb to be between 500 and 1500 feet per minute. Remember this. So this is the procedure. Next, question number 5. What is meant when departure control instructs you to resume own navigation? Very important. If you have ever done flight following, radar following, you will uh, you will hear this phrase often: resume own navigation. After you have been vectored to a particular vector airway or any other VOR radial, so ATC will vector you up to that point, and from that point onwards, you are on your own. You have to navigate. Okay, so what is meant when departure control instructs you resume own navigation? You should maintain the airway by use of your own navigation equipment. Yes. No law. You won't get any new vectors from the ATC now. Once the ATC has vectored you to a radial, to any airway, vector airway. From that point on, you will follow that vector airway using your own onboard navigation equipment. Okay. Radar service is terminated. That is wrong. Radar service doesn't get terminated with this phrase. Resume own navigation doesn't mean radar service is terminated. You will still get traffic advisories depending on traffic ATC's workload. You are still in radar contact but must make position reports. That is wrong. Okay, when you are in radar contact with ATC, ATC has your position, has your aircraft information like position, flight number, transponder code, altitude displayed on his radar scope. Okay, so he knows where you are going, where you are at, what you are about to do. So you need not make any position reports because ATC is well aware of your position because of the magnificence of radar. Next. Question number 6. Upon intercepting the assigned radial, okay, the controller, assigned radial meaning any vector airway, the controller advises you that you are on the airway and now you resume own navigation. What is the meaning of this phrase, resume own navigation? Previously, just now we saw, it means that you should maintain the radial, you should maintain the airway on your own using your own onboard navigation equipment. Apart from that, let's see what these options have for us. You are still in radar contact but must make position report. Just now I clarified you need not make any position reports as long as you are in radar contact with ATC. Radar services are terminated and you will be responsible for position reports. No, radar service doesn't get terminated with this phrase, resume own navigation. You are to assume responsibility for your own navigation. That is right. Question 7. Which procedure applies to instrument departure procedure? Instrument departure clearances will not be issued unless requested by the pilot. That is wrong. Let me check other options. The PIC must accept an instrument departure procedure when issued by ATC. If an instrument departure procedure is accepted, the pilot must possess at least a textual description. That is right. So option A is wrong. Instrument departure clearances won't be issued unless requested by the pilot. That is wrong. ATC controller may initiate an instrument departure procedure clearance, okay, or intention. ATC may do that, and pilot in command is not in a position or is not bound to accept an instrument departure procedure. He may decline that. Okay. So, but when he accepts that procedure clearance procedure request from ATC, the pilot must be in possession of at least a textual format, a graphical representation of the procedure. Remember this. Question number 8. What action is recommended if a pilot doesn't wish to use an instrument departure procedure? So if a pilot doesn't wish to use an instrument departure procedure, he must notify ATC of his intention. And how does he achieve that? Or how does he make that happen? There are two ways. You can communicate to ATC from the cockpit, right? Radio telephony, or uh, you can give this information that you do not wish to use an instrument departure procedure when you file your flight plan. So there are two ways. Out of these two ways, the second one, the latter one, the flight plan one, is a recommended practice. Okay. So the correct answer is option C. Enter no departure in the remarks section of the IFR flight plan. If you write it down, if you write it there, that no instrument departure procedure, so the ATC will understand it, and he or she will not initiate this instrument departure clearance or procedure. Advise clearance delivery or ground control before departure. This is the first way or first option I told you. So this can be done, but it's not recommended. Okay, what is recommended is this one. Enter no departure well beforehand when you file a flight plan. So A is wrong. Advise departure control upon initial contact. Again, do not use radio telephony for this particular notification. Put it in the flight plan. What does the term ATC term radar contact signify? Okay, radar contact. Your aircraft has been identified and you will receive separation from all aircraft while in contact with this radar facility. So remember the word all. This is risky. Your aircraft has been identified on the radar and radar flight following will be provided until radar identification is terminated. You will be given traffic advisories until advised the service has been terminated or that radar contact has been lost. What does the term ATC term radar contact signify? Now option A is clearly wrong because you will receive separation not from all aircraft. You will receive separation from aircraft depending on the airspace you are flying in. Class Bravo, Class Charlie, Class Delta, all these airspaces have their own separation criteria. So depending on the airspace, you will get separation services. So this is wrong, not from all aircraft. Your aircraft has been identified on the display and radar flight following will be provided until radar identity will be given. So option Bravo is the most appropriate. Now option Charlie is wrong because you will be given traffic advisories. This word will, okay, this is problematic. ATC is not bound to give you or is not obliged to give you traffic advisories. It will give you traffic advisories or it may give you traffic advisories as per the workload. Okay, if ATC has little workload, it will give you traffic advisories. If ATC is burdened with lots of workload, it's not the priority of ATC or radar controller to give you traffic advisories. That will be one of his last priorities. So this word will is wrong. Okay, so instead of will, they should have used might, may. Okay, you may be given traffic advisories until advised. Okay, but will is problematic. So correct option is option Bravo. Okay, so read all the options twice. Okay, look for some look for tricks, look for some the answers. These options will play tricks with you, so be aware of that. Read the options carefully, read the options twice, and look for some loopholes. You will find some loopholes if you read it carefully. Okay. With this, we come to the end of this good lecture. Short lecture, significant, but uh, don't take it lightly. Read this instrument departure, the topic instrument departure from various resources: Wikipedia, YouTube, Jackson IFR books, FA books. Okay, it's very important. There is lot that can be asked from this chapter. I have only asked 9 questions, simple 9 questions. There are a lot more. I'll ask those remaining questions in my next quiz lectures. So do watch those quiz lectures also for more questions like this. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and like this video lecture. I wish you all the best. Keep in touch with studies. Keep working hard. And I wish you lots of success. So see you in my next video.